No, I didn't, actually. No, I never did. Hmm? I can't hear you, Charlie. I'm deaf. Okay. 100 years. God bless her. All right, so we're going to go right into reports then. Okay, supervisor report, April 2022. Attended the monthly Ulster County Association of Supervisors City Mayors meeting. We discussed the county recycling oversight updates, county EMS response, ARPA reporting, which is due in April, county sales tax, revenue sharing, CAP, consolidated court arrangements, and the county use of their ARP federal funding. I got that on my list, Tom. Did you guys hear anything about that? The CAP, the ARP funding from the county?
No, it's still in a resolution form for us to adopt, and then the towns will be able to request in, but we haven't adopted that resolution yet. It's still in the...
And how about the county sales tax revenue sharing? We sent the letter to the county exec?
I told you that's, we got to fight on that one. That one's out of our hands. We don't make a decision on that through the legislature. That's strictly a contract signed with the municipality, with the county executive's office, and I believe you should make good on it.
Yep. So if people don't know what that is there's a cap that's set at where we actually share revenue from the county to all the municipalities in the county. And there was a resolution that was passed through the county executive office and the associations of supervisors and mayors that if it went over a certain percentage of the cap, or if it went over the cap amount, that we would still continue to equally share in that. And at this point, the county executive office has reneged on that contractual agreement, and we have written them a letter that basically we want our money, right? Each community wants their money, because basically what happened during COVID, everybody was buying so much stuff from home that their actual sales tax revenue was more than they would actually anticipated. But at this point, the county has not given us our fair share. We have, as a group of supervisors and mayors of the whole county, have written them and the county legislator a letter stating that they should do good on their contractual agreement with us, and at this point we have not received anything back. So just to give you guys an update. There was an additional almost $800,000 that was supposed to be shared by the mayors and supervisors of the county, right? So each municipality, I should say. So, and they were supposed to be divided up basically the same way they divide up the regular sales tax. Each municipality gets a percentage based on the original formula, but as of right now, we have not received that money. All right, so I met with Eric Baxter and Dan Rieger again to discuss the Bayside projects. We discussed the assessment of the property, need to go in front of the planning board for building extensions, outstanding fees owed to the town, non-build out of the commercial property, and the withdrawal of their pilot request to the county IDA. So they are not going to be building the commercial property, if you have not heard, at this point, and they have withdrawn their pilot request to the county IDA. They will not be requesting a pilot program. I worked out an arrangements with them so they don't have to do that, and that's just basically we worked with our assessor's office and got them, a little more comfortable with their numbers based on the rents that they can actually charge now. It's not that we lowered their assessment, that we just basically explained to them what their assessment was going to be and the property value and what they were going to be charging for rents, and that they came in somewhere in the middle of that in the pilot. So we didn't want a pilot, so they're not going to do a pilot. Attended and presented to all town employees our yearly workplace violence and sexual harassment training class. Had multiple meetings on the renovation project of Tomback building with town engineer Phil Belser, internet councilman Zambito, deputy supervisor Appler, superintendent Alonji, and deputy superintendent Lazaroff. As you guys see, the foundation has been poured, the rocks inside the walls. As of today, the asbestos has been completed, and I'll show you a report later on where Quest has given us a clean bill of health. So, and on the 19th, next Tuesday, we'll be putting it out to bid for the remaining project. Met with Water Superintendent Maggio, Budget Officer Christine Wilco, and Councilman Zambito to discuss the water district deficit and how to best resolve the matter. We also discussed the water rate and how to make billing more transparent. And we do have a deficit. We did come up with a way to pay off that deficit within 1 year, and that unfortunately is going to be $2 per 1,000 gallons usage, and have that resolution. Met at the Milton Landing to discuss the final location of the CSX crossing with John Beham, Jason Pachicaro, Deputy Supervisor Appler, Councilman Zambito, Howard Baker, and Rosemary and Jerry Wine. And this is to finalize the spot, the exact spot that they needed in order to move forward with CSX. John Beham should have that design plan with Jason back by next week, and we will submit that to CSX, and hopefully then they will move on the project. They and DOT already have funding for this. It's just a matter of time. They have till August to get this at least started. By us, we won our case, and by their judge order, they have to start this by August. Technically, they're supposed to be done by August, but as long as they start. Met with Brandy Nelson to discuss the Milton Pier on-site field inspections that are past due by Arvin Group. I informed Mr. Nelson and the town will inform Arden Group that they will have until April 15th to submit the inspections to the building department. After that day, we will contract a third-party inspector and start legal proceedings against Arden Group of breach of contract per the contractual agreement we have with them. You guys saw the letter I sent you, I copied on that. He did respond back that they were going to put us into their schedule again, which he said for the last 2 months. So again, April 15th is the deadline. Met with Bobby Tronsolito to discuss the possibility of a dust ordinance as he continues to have issues with Brooklyn Bottling. This is an open discussion. Bobby would like to come to the board meeting and discuss with the whole board. I told him just to let us know when he wants to come, and we could discuss it. Met with Dennis Larish to discuss his contract for the bid package on the improvement of the Marlborough sewer plant. Improvements will be made using the federal ARPA funding. He's working on that bid package right now. Met with Councilwoman Sesha, James Mullen, and Tina Rosa to discuss alternative suggestions on how to fill the summer camp health director position. I thank Sherida for reaching out to James, and it actually kicked off a lot of different ideas and finally got to the point where we actually have a health director now. So I just want to thank you, Sherida, for doing that. Deputy Supervisor Appler, Councilman Zambito, and I met with Eric DeSalt from American Cruise Lines down at the Milton Pier to discuss alternative ideas for the fender system needed at the Milton Landing Pier. As discussed at the last meeting, and I showed you pictures, we're on track to get some kind of an estimate back from Eric on what he would like to do down there. Then I could give that to Brandy Nelson, who's our engineer, and she would verify if what he came up is something that is she could sign off on as our engineer. We want to make sure, again, that we don't damage the new pier. So whatever we do, we're going to put it through our engineering team to make sure that it's done correctly. Met with the planning board members, Cindy Lanzetta, Steve Jennison, with the planning board attorney, Jeff Bastoni, and Highway Superintendent Alonji and Deputy Superintendent Lazaroff to discuss the Ashland Garino subdivision off of Ruby Road. Attended the Milton Firehouse annual pancake breakfast, which made its return after taking off for the past 2 years due to COVID pandemic, which went very well attended. So thanks to the Milton Firehouse, did a great job. Met with Councilman Zambito and Tom Schroeder at the Cluett-Champ Park for our annual park walkthrough. We discussed the bathroom updates, signage, blacktop needs, playground upkeep, and installing Wi-Fi and cameras at the park. Presented a slideshow at the Tom Vac renovation project for the monthly Community Connections virtual meeting with Councilman Zambito and Deputy Supervisor Appler. And thank you to Mickey and her team for putting that on. So I think it went well. Met with our summer camp director, Melanie Anto, Dawn Macaro, Gal Tronsolito, and Tina Rosa to continue planning for this year's summer camp. We discussed the hiring of our new health director, Maureen Poleski, who is the Marlborough Elementary School nurse. So thank you to her, because without her, we would not be able to have it, but we are having it thanks to her. So We also finalized registration dates and times. Camp runs from July 5th through August 5th. Registration dates are April 22nd, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., April 23rd, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., April 30th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., all at the Town Hall, and you can find this on our website. You can also register daily for Tina Rosa in the supervisor's office, and I want to thank Tina Rosa for all her hard work for planning and organizing the camp, as she does every year, and I can tell you, you guys have no idea how much work she actually does. It's amazing what she actually does. Without her overseeing all the paperwork from the county and camp, we would not be able to have our camp, and it wouldn't happen. I also want to thank Councilwoman Sesha, who was very involved in hiring the process of our new health director, and great work by everyone. So we will be moving forward. I attended the town Easter egg hunt presented by the Town Recreation Committee, held at the Hudson Valley Sports Dome. Thank you to Nick Pisa and his family for donating the venue for our annual event. Thank you to Tina Rosa, Councilwoman Sesha, co-chairs Arlette Porpiglia, Jenna Lazaroff, and rec committee members Christina Macaracoli and Tammy Corcoran for all their help volunteering to make this a success. Special thanks to Penny Cashman, AKA the Easter Bunny, and her helper Colleen Grandma Corcoran for putting smiles on hundreds of children's faces. I got to do it, Colin. I also would like to thank Patty DeAngelis for volunteering her time to do face paint, and Kristen Winston for DJing the event. And I also wanted to thank the Marlborough Faculty, that's the Marlborough Faculty Association, who brought in a lot of volunteers to help us, and they did all the face painting with Patty. So great work by their team. Met with Bob Pollock, Building Inspector, Tom Corcoran, Deputy Supervisor Appler, Michael McCormick, and Councilman Zambito to discuss the Milton Main Street project. We discussed the build-out, the time frame, the parking, the sidewalks, the preliminary discussions on movement on the utility poles. And Bob has to go back one more time to the planning board for an update, and hopefully that's it, and then hopefully he'll move on this project. So that's submitted by myself, Supervisor Corcoran. And I just want to state, you know, the reason I make this a little lengthy and I put everybody's names into here is because I want to make sure everyone understands it's not one person who does everything. It's a team of people that do everything. And I want to give everybody credit for what they do, and that's why I name their names in these reports. So I want to thank everybody that helps, and again, we've been working as a great team, and I just want to give thanks to everybody on our good board. So having said that, Tom, you're up.
Building Department monthly report, month ending March 2022. Certificate of occupancy 3, request for information 21, building extensions 4, fire inspections 14, fire calls 1, stop work orders 1, order to remedy 5, complaints 16, burn permits issued 4, clothing bin renewals 2, building permits 6 renovations, 4 burn permits, 4 decks, stairs permits, 1 demo, 3 electrical, 3 roofs, 3 sheds, 2 single home, 2 solar panels, 3 tank installation removals, 1 wireless communication. Total permits 33. Estimated cost of building $1,042,251. Monthly revenue, certificate of occupancy 450. Permit extensions 6659. Building permits 8,369. Request for information $4,200. Fire inspections 1,560. For a total revenue of this month, $21,238. Total miles, 1,177. Gas usage, 67 gallons.
Any questions for Tom? Thank you.
All right. I just like to say, I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, but I appreciate working with the current board, supervisor, Mr. Zambito, and Mr. Appler have kept me involved in pretty much every project that the town has going on right now, and there's quite a few. So again, blessing or a curse, I'm busy enough, but I appreciate you involving me in this process, as I should be as a building inspector. And again, anything you need, just give me a call. And again, I appreciate you keeping me involved in it and all the hard work you've been doing in these projects.
Thanks for showing up at the meetings, Tom. A lot of stuff. All right, police report. You want me to read it, or you guys are? All right, I'll read the police report. Okay, we got April 11th, 2022, submitted to the town board by Chief Kokoza. Activity summary of month of March 2022. Motor vehicle accidents. Let me see how he's got this now. We got personal injury 6, fatal 0, property damage 24 for a total of 30. Summons issued, vehicle and traffic 136, parking 0. Complaint activity, total blotted entries 1,568, total arrests 17. Total telephone calls were 1,751. To police department overtime hours, payroll 0607, it was attached. Full-time dispatcher overtime 8 hours, part-time dispatcher 49 hours, police mileage 10,119 miles for a total of 27,293 for the year. Police department payroll, full-time police officers 1,120 hours for a year, 3,449. Part-time police officers 1,120 hours for the year, 3,400.75. Full-time dispatcher 160 for a full year, 644. Part-time dispatcher 613 for a total of the year 2,305.5. Traffic officer 71 for 184 for the year. Police department fuel consumption, police 1,041 gallons, .852. Total year is 3,268.897 thousand gallons. Use of force, 0 use of force, 1 deer, 0 animals, 0 hands. And then year to date, we had 5 deers we hit, so that's not good, but that's expected. And the rest is reports broken down, and that's respectively submitted by Chief Jerry Kokoza. So I got Superintendent of Highways. John, you want to read that, or Sherida? Sherida, you got it?
Yep. Okay, the Superintendent of Highways submitted by John Alonji, monthly report for March 2022. On March 4th, we sent 4 men to Kingston to participate in a ceremony hosted by Ulster County Executive Patrick Ryan. Congratulations to our Highway Department. We were awarded a certificate of recognition in appreciation for the rapid response and selfless service that contributed to the well-being of the residents of Ulster County during the ice storm of 2022. Highlights for the month: we spent the month repairing roads that were affected by this winter's weather. We cold patched where needed and did lawn repairs. Several days were devoted to trimming and removing brush and trees with DiLorenzo Tree Care. It was necessary for the safety issues and for preparing the roadsides for our upcoming paving projects. We continued flail mowing in preparation for paving. On 3/11, the entire department attended the yearly required seminars on sexual harassment and workplace violence. We only had 2 storms this month. On the 9th, the forecast was for 1 to 6 inches of snow. We received 4 to 5 inches. And on the 11th, forecast was for 5 to 9 inches of snow, and we received almost 4 inches. A good part of the month was spent working on creating and updating the Tomback building. We dug and poured footings and walls. Fuel usage was gas 168 gallons and diesel 1,760 gallons. Respectfully submitted, John Alonji.
Thank you, Sher. Charlie, you're up.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi, Charlie.
Monthly report for March. Our water consumption totaled 17,040,000 gallons, which is a daily usage of 549,000 gallons, 677, compared to last month, which we had 14,554,000, which is a daily usage of 519,806 gallons. Compared to a year ago, our consumption was 17,100,000 gallons for the month, which is a usage of 551,612 for the day. Summary of the month: billing. People are still calling about high bills, and calls had to be alleviated. Curb boxes, we had a repair on Hudson Terrace and Ridge Road. Meters, again, we continue to get calls to replace frozen meters. Service lines, we had to repair a service line on Hudson Terrace, Tabor Place, in Marlborough. Sewer, we helped repair the sewer pump at the Marlborough Sewer Plant, and we also worked on a 2-inch force main sewer on 9W in Marlborough. We also assisted in renovation of the Tomback building. High-pressure calls on Main Street in Milton had to be addressed. Closings, we had 10. Markouts, 40. Gallons of gas, 225. Gallons of diesel, 25. And the mileage for the month, 2,100 miles.
Any questions for Charlie, guys? Charlie, just thanks again for all the help you guys are doing at Tomback again. And anytime I ask you, you always are right there. So I just want to thank you. And one question up on Ridge Road. I know you guys been looking for a water leak.
Yeah, well,
Today you were up there again, I hear?
we had a gentleman that was there. We spent about almost 2.5 hours there looking for a leak, and apparently
There's none?
there's nothing there. They listened to a water main, and supposedly if there's a leak or something because of the pressure up there, you'd hear some kind of sound going off the pipes.
And what was the reason we thought there was a leak? Just because we were having more flooding than normal?
There was flooding over there, and a couple of times I took water samples, and it had fluoride and PO4 in it, but PO4 is a corrosive, so the pipes don't corrode or anything. And they determined that the water is leaching from a septic tank, and the groundwater is carrying a little bit of the chemicals down to
So
the
no
orchard.
leak. That's good. No leak. But we
So-
still have the little pond on the other side of the street.
We can't resolve it.
No, I know. I mean,
It's
I
all
Mr.
from-
Nelson's called me, a number of times on this, including today, because he saw you up there. And I'll call him back tomorrow, tell him what we found, and we'll go from there.
The
So-
gentleman that we had today, he usually works in Jersey and he works in New York City, so he's doing this every day. It's not something, he's been doing it for 25 years.
All right.
And
Well, that's good news we don't have a leak.
his
That's good.
professional advice to us is well recommended. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Appreciate it. Colleen? You need a walker, Colleen?
Town Clerk, monthly report for March 2022. Burn permits, 1 for $25. Conservation fees, 6 for $7.46. Dog licenses, 32 for a total of $170. Tow licenses, 1 for $250. Water services, 1 for $200. Transfer station permits, 8 for $510. Punch cards, 24 for $1,260. Marriage licenses, 3 for $5,250. Building department fees, 1 for $12,856.50. Fire fees, 1 for $680. Accident report, 17 for $85. Bank fee for insufficient funds, 1 for $25. Certified copies, 5 for $350. FOIA requests, 5 for $16.75. Junkyard licenses, 2 for $500. Park fees, 9 for $2,900, for a grand total of $19,888.21.
Thank you. You guys got any questions? Thank you, Colin.
And I'd like to wish my brother-in-law a happy 60th birthday.
No, I'm not 60 yet. I ain't as old as you yet. Not there. Thank you. Water quality management. Dave, you want to read that, or Sharon, or one of you?
Yeah, I can do it.
It's right there.
There you go.
April 6, 2022, for the month of March 2022, both the Marlborough and Milton wastewater treatment plants complied with the SPDES requirements. The following are monthly statistics for both plants. Marlborough, average daily flow 150,000 gallons a day, about 86% of the design capacity. Average BOD removal 96%, average suspended solids removal 96%. Milton plant, average daily flow 29,000 gallons per day. That's about 53% of the design capacity. Average BOD removal 98%, average suspended solids removal 83%. Both the Marlborough and Milton treatment plants operated normally during the month of March without any major changes or events. The low TSS percent removal valve for Milton was likely due to the rapid swings in temperature we experienced. It is fairly normal to have higher amounts of suspended solids during this time of year. With the help of the Highway and Water Department, we have fixed and reinstalled the grinder used for our digester tank. While attempting to test the grinder, we unfortunately experienced an issue with the pump used to lift the sludge up into the digester tank. We have brought the pump to Fleet Pump and Service Group Incorporated in White Plains for repairs. Hopefully it will be fixed and returned within the month. DJ Heating also was able to repair the final exhaust fan at the Milton facility. Overall, both wastewater treatment plants are in good working order, but are getting older. If you need any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you, Julian Falco, Water Quality Management Incorporated.
Thank you, Dave. All right, Planning Board review. I'll get this. March 2022 financial report. March 22 application fees $2,528. Escrow fees $6,727. Recreation fees 0. Invoices $15,944.32. Meeting March 7th, 2022. Attendees Chris Brand, Cindy Lanzetta, Joe LaFaro, Bob Tronslato, James Garfalo, and Steve Jennison. Agenda approval of stenographic minutes for 2/7/2022. Approval of the 2/7/2022 minutes were granted unanimously. Franco's STR 387 Latin Town Road, Marlborough, public hearing, minor site plan. The public hearing was opened and closed with no input from the community. Final approval was granted unanimously. Quiang subdivision, 24 Platico Road, Marlborough sketch subdivision. The board unanimously approved the seeker negative declaration and notice of determination of non-significance and resolution of approval for the proposed subdivision. The board also proposed a resolution to collect $4,000 in recreation fees. Garino 5 Ashland Drive, Marlborough sketch site plan. Conditions of access on the unpaved portion of the roadway access were discussed at length. The applicant's representatives agreed to attempt to resolve the issue through discussions with the town attorney, highway superintendent. The possibility of relocating the driveway and/or implementing easements was also discussed. A public hearing was scheduled for April 4th, 2022. Verizon Marlborough High School, 50 Cross Road, Marlborough sketch site plan. Member Garfano again recused himself from the Verizon portion of the meeting. The board reviewed comments from the town engineer, Pat Hines. Wireless communication consultant, Mike Mosso, also provided the board with a detailed analysis of the applicant's progress, which included a January 31st, 2022 balloon test and photo simulations of the proposed tower from multiple views. Mr. Musso detailed outstanding documentation from the applicant. A public hearing was scheduled for April 4th, 2022. Pollock site plan, 39 Main Street, Milton. Public hearing site plan. The board reviewed comments from the town engineer, Pat Hines. Discussion of the proposed loading zone as signage was held. The board agreed to waive the landscaping requirements for off-site parking, and it was previously established. The board authorized the attorney to draft a secret negative declaration and resolution to approve for the March 21st, 2022 meeting. Next deadline was Friday, March 11th, 2022. Next scheduled meeting, Monday, March 21st, 2022. At the March 21st, 2022 meeting, attendees was Chris Brand, Cindy Lanzetta, Joe LaFaro, Bob Tronslato, James Garfano, Steve Jennison, Steve Clark. Agenda, Pollock site plan, 39 Main Street, Milton, final site plan. The board previously authorized attorney Jeff Bastoni to prepare a resolution to approval for the project. However, views of the outstanding geotechnical report, a lot line change plan was required before doing so. The board unanimously agreed there should be no blasting on the site and that a certified geotechnical professional should evaluate the completed rock cuts to offer their professional opinion on whether the rock wall catchment will be necessary. Discussions regarding relocating the proposed accessible parking was held and the changes determined to be unnecessary. The board fully anticipated a vote on a new secret negative declaration and resolution on approval, which will include affirmative concerns. Buttermilk Spa expansion resubmittal, 2020 North Road Milton sketch site plan. The applicant original site plan approval on August 19, 2019 expired. The applicant is seeking reapproval. The board agreed to expedite the process to be the best of their ability, as now the significant changes from the 8/19/2019 approved plan was proposed. A public hearing was scheduled on April 19, 2022. The board also authorized the attorney to prepare a resolution of approval for the same date, bearing any significant public input. Marie McKeel, 32 Bingham Road, Marlborough sketch lot line. The applicant proposed to transfer 2.007 acres to a property between two adjoining lots. The project qualified for the streamlined approval process, and a resolution of approval was modified to include the pre-existing non-conforming condition on site and unanimously approved. Added to the agenda, Verizon Marlborough High School 40 Crossroad Marlborough discussion site plan. Member Garofano again recused himself from the Verizon portion of the meeting. The board reviewed and discussed task order 2002-01- modification number 1 and authorized Chairman Brand to sign after unanimous vote. Franco's STR 387 Latintown Road, Marlborough discussion minor site plan. The applicant reappeared to discuss their previously approved minor site plan after discrepancies between the information the town had recorded for the above property and the existing site conditions came to the attention of the town code enforcement officer. The applicant agreed to work in cooperation with the building department to clarify these discrepancies and reappear if modified resolution of approval is required due to the existing conditions. Discussions regarding the newly adopted short-term rental code and its intent versus the codified B&B code ensued. Discussions with engineer and attorney, Garino 5 Aston Drive, Marlborough site plan. The board discussed the existing roadway conditions and proposed access on an unpaved portion of the roadway. Board attorney Jeff Bethoni agreed to organize a meeting with members from the planning board, town board, and the town highway superintendent to discuss and come to a consensus of the existing town code and the proposed site plan application. Next deadline, Friday, March 25th, 2022. Next scheduled meeting, Monday, April 4th, 2022. Respectfully submitted, Chris Brand, Chairman of the Marlborough Town Planning Board. Okay, so we got that. I didn't get a dog control officer one this one, so. And I didn't get one from Cindy because she was sick. We did get Chris Brand's. So the only other one I'm gonna jump to, since it's kind of like a report like this, I'm gonna jump to our item 9, report of committees, and this is the Meet Me in Marlborough, letter H. I'm just gonna read Meet Me in Marlborough's now. April 11th, 2022, Meet Me in Marlborough Town Board meeting. Friday, 4/8, 9 a.m. meeting with Scott Corcoran, Town Supervisor in the Hamlet of Milton, to discuss the upcoming 423 Blossom Street Fair and May Festival. Rain date, Sunday, 4/24 in the Hamlet of Milton. To celebrate a new agricultural season, shops, businesses, artisans, schools, civic groups, farmers, community organizations, crafts, foods, educational booths, dance, music, food, and kid activities will be on that day. So that's on 4/23 in the main street in Milton. Friday, 4/8, 5:30 p.m., Meet Me in Marlborough's first after-hours business network event at Locust Grove Brewing Company, where they all met. 5/21 had a rain date. 5/22, May Farm Artisan Fleet and Yard Sale Market at DeCluis Chance Park. And Meet Me in Marlborough continues to pursue a FFA or AG club at the Marlborough High School. And respectfully submitted, Meet Me in Marlborough. Okay, so let's get back to our agenda. This thing, get out of the way. All right, Recreation Committee. Sherry, do you want to update us on what we did?
Yeah, you've heard about a lot of it in the supervisor's report. We hosted most recently the town egg hunt at the Dome, which was last Thursday evening. Quite a few people were in attendance there. It ended up being a very nice event. The Recreation Committee is also continuing to work on summer activities, including movies in the park and concerts in the park, and their next meeting is this Tuesday, which is tomorrow, April 12th at 7 o'clock at the Kedem Winery.
All right, thank you very much. Emergency Management Preparedness Committee, we're right now in the middle of updating that report. I got feedback from the county, from Ever, and I'm in the midst of updating that report with Deputy Supervisor Appler. Conservation Advisory Committee, we don't have anything new at this point. The IT Committee, the only thing I could tell you on the IT Committee is we did get Spectrum did install the cable line down at the dog park. It is all the way back to the light tower. The scheduled is on the 19th next week to come and install the modem, and then we will look into putting the camera system up there, so we'll have cameras in the park down there. Milton Train Station Foundation, I didn't get anything from them. Milton Landing Citizens Committee, I did not get anything from them. Marlborough Hamlet Economic Development Committee, no report. Meet Me in Marlborough, we did. Hamlet and Milton Association Committee, I didn't get anything. And Transfer Station Review, no report. Old business, we have the Tomback updates. I'm not going to go into too much of this, but again, like I talked about, next Tuesday is going out to bid. The asbestos work is complete, and this is where I will show you the letter from Quest. So we just got this today. It says, Dear Mr. Corcoran, final visual inspection of air clearness sampling performed at the Marlborough Volunteer Ambulance has been satisfactorily completed. An abatement of joint compound on sheetrock and floor tile and mastic was performed by East Coast Hazmat Inc. in the compliance with New York State Industrial Code Rule 56-11.2. Final visual inspection and aggressive air sampling was performed using phase contrast microscopy PCM sampling and analytical protocols required by New York State DOL within Title 12 New York CRR Part 56. The laboratory results for the clearness air samples satisfied the reoccupancy criteria set forth in New York State ICR-56, less than 0.01 fiber per cubic centimeters or background, whichever is greater. Copies of clearance air samplers laboratory results are attached for your use. Should you wish to discuss this matter further or require additional information, please contact me. Quest appreciates the opportunity to assist the town of Marlborough in the environmental remediation of services area. And that's from Greg Dean, a manager of the field service. And this is basically the report. So what this means is that we are safe now to reoccupy the building. We could go inside the building. This report gets filed with the state in New York. And we have clearance now to move on to phase 2, which is the actual bid of the main building. So I want to thank Quest Labs, and I want to thank East Coast Hazmat for doing a quick and expedient job, and they stayed well within their time frame of 3 weeks. So we're right on schedule with this, guys. So cross our fingers, the bid comes in. South Pier update, I kind of updated that again in my supervisor report. We're waiting on American Cruise Line to get me the quote back on what they're going to do there for the fender piles, and then I'm also waiting on Arbin to get the inspections done for the welds, and they have to April 15th, and after April 15th we'll get a third party to do those inspections if they do not.
Can we talk a little bit
Yes.
about Jasmine and her project?
Yes, you can. Go ahead. Very good.
So we met on Friday with Jasmine Taylor, who, if you recall, was at our last 1 or 2 meetings. I think she was at our last 2 meetings to discuss her Girl Scout Gold project, which was a proposal to put children's activities painted on the walking path at the Cluett Shantz Park. So Supervisor Corcoran, John Alonji, and myself met with Jasmine last Friday at the park, and we identified a suitable piece of sidewalk for her to put her activities down on. It's the piece of sidewalk that goes up into the hill where the trees and the woods are. And it's a newly paved piece of sidewalk that's about double the width of the rest of the sidewalk around the pond. So we collectively agreed that that would be an ideal place for Jasmine to put her activities so that it doesn't disrupt the flow of the folks that are walking, but also allows the children to play a little bit off the beaten path. So, with that said, I'd like to make a motion to approve Jasmine's revised proposal for her activities up on the hill at the Cluett Shantz Park.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Yes, thank you, Councilwoman Session.
Yeah, I can reach out to her, that's fine. I'll do it, it's okay, yeah.
Sherrod got to sign her paperwork off.
Yes,
and,
yes, I do.
She's going for her gold
Her gold award, yeah.
award, right? So
That's a big award in
it's a
Girl
big
Scouts,
award for
yeah.
her. So well, hopefully it works out good. She's going to do it, I think she said, during summertime or before the summertime. Hopefully she could work it in where the summer camp people could utilize that as one of their crafts or sections that they could use besides craft. So good job. New business. You guys have any other new business that you wanted to bring up? Nothing? The only other one thing I want to bring up, I talked to you guys personally about this, and in the upcoming election, I was thinking about possibly extending the supervisor's position to 4 years and putting term limits on all of us. And again, this is an open discussion, so I'm just want to add this to new business and introduce it to the public. I'm an advocate of term limits. I know a lot of people aren't, but I am. I know the county already passed term limits. I like to follow suit with the 12-year limit, which means 3 terms. And then you have to take some time off, and then if you want to come back, you can come back. But I also believe that being in this position for a short period of time, but been on the board for a long time and seeing other supervisors do this job, it's very hard to get a lot of things done within a 2-year time frame. It's literally almost impossible with government. So it's a discussion we'll have after the fact, but I want to put it on new business to have all positions on the board be 4 years, but also have 3 terms in a row limit. So again, I just want to add that to new business. Correspondence. Attention Town Board, I am the manager of HZ Electric Supply and Electrical Supply House in Poughkeepsie, New York. We would like to request permission to use one of the upper baseball fields at the Cluett Shantz Park on Saturday, June 25th, 2022 for a friendly softball game against our local competition, Cooper Electrical Supply, located in Newburgh. I'm a resident of Marlborough, and I thought it would be a good central location for all of us to use. We would purchase the attached event insurance policy for this purpose, naming the town of Marlborough as additional insured. The date of June 25th, if not etched in stone, just as arbitrary date we would have chosen at this point. So if it's not available, please let us know, and we would work that out. And this is from Luca Guarini. I know we looked into this, right, Kyle? And I know the date is available. So if the board's okay with them having their softball tournament for a local resident, I need a motion to approve that. Anybody? That they could use the field without charge.
I'll make a motion to let the electrical company use the field at no charge.
Thank you, Dave.
I'll second that.
All right, thanks. All in favor? Aye. How's everything going, Eddie? That was a long trip, huh?
It took me an hour and a half to get there, and 3.5 hours to get home.
Oh, boy, oh, my.
Ed, you
Now
can adjourn.
now I know why I moved out of Brooklyn.
Hey,
What?
you got it just in time for resolutions, don't worry. Okay, so we have another request for the town park fields, and this is from the Duchess Steb from Shannon Gunsich. They did this last year. They're the ones that actually fixed the fields up for us last year, and they're going to continue to fix the fields up. I think they're going to work on the backfield more this year. But in conjunction with that, they would like to use the field. So Shannon, I have the town I have the town clerk's office copied on this reply. We'll have them check the dates and times to make sure no one else has requested these dates. We will get back to you soon, which she did. Good evening, Mr. Corcoran. I hope this is all well with you and your family. I'm reaching out in hopes of the Duchess Debs team can use the fields at Cluett Chance Park. Ray Melendez said Marlborough Youth Baseball and Softball will not be using the fields on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights, and also on Saturday morning. If you will allow us to use the fields again, we would need them for the following nights and times. And it's Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Tuesdays 5 to 8, Wednesdays 5 to 8, and Sundays 9 to 1. And we did check with the clerk's office, and there was just one date, and she's been notified of the date. She has insurance that she has on file with us, or she's going to get updated insurance. And same thing, I need a motion for the Duchess Debs to be able to use the fields on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for those dates. Saturdays, sorry.
What are the dates?
Tuesdays 5 to 8, Wednesday 5 to 8, and Sundays 9 to 1.
From any
Saturdays.
particular date period?
This
or-
is, starting this coming Tuesday and end
Didn't you say
on the
Saturday?
summer for Tuesdays. Wednesdays 5 to 8, second week of June until the end of the summer. And Sundays 9 to 1, second week of June ending at the end of the summer. I guess you talked to Ray about
Yeah, I have to be honest, I'm questioning that a little bit, just with my involvement with Marlborough Youth Baseball, and I'm curious as to whether we verified with Ray that the teams don't want to use those
Did they verify with the
fields?
clerk's office? Because they have every date that Marlborough Youth has to use it for.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at my own schedule of Marlborough Youth, and I see several days with those fields listed, I think.
Did you look?
So maybe we just want to verify with Ray, but assuming that there's no conflict, of course, I'm fine with that.
Well, I mean, again, if there's a conflict, there's a conflict, but there's Marlborough Youth Baseball relayed to the clerk's office.
That's a great
They
question.
can't just take
No,
the field
very-
whenever they want, right?
Absolutely, totally
So if they
true.
didn't put their dates in and she did first,
Yeah, no, that's
But-
that's fine if that's the case.
I don't have a problem with either, it's a conflict, but I would just have Ray or yourself reach out to the
Mm-hmm.
clerk's office. But as long as there's no conflicts and we could work this out, is the board okay with the Duchess Debs using?
Absolutely.
We have one conflict, right, Colleen? You said,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
So basically, what I'll ask for is a motion that the Duchess Debs could utilize the upper fields based on working out the dates and times with the clerk's office and Marlborough Youth Baseball, all right?
All right.
So I ask for that motion, I'll make a motion for that, and I need a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Yeah, they gotta make sure that everybody
That they all
is on the
coordinate.
same page,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, agreed.
Well, maybe you and
Why don't I
Councilman
coor- why don't-
Session could
yeah,
work together?
Let's coordinate and just make sure between us that we have all the right info, and then we can certainly reach
My other
out to
que-
Ray to verify.
Question, Colleen, you already checked though, that there was only one
Yeah.
conflict, correct?
Well, we did, but the sheriff was saying that she thinks that
But I mean, if they put in for their own dates, it's first come, first serve, right?
Yeah,
I
I
said,
mean,
they'll work it out.
Okay.
I mean, I think they'll work it out, right? And I'm glad that they're getting used, that's a good thing, right?
Yep.
So, for many years, those upper fields had not getting used, so it's good. I got another one for the Cluett Chance Park, though. This is the time of the year, guys. I am hoping that the Alpha Chapter Delta Kappa Gamma might use the park and pavilion again in August if possible. I have attached a letter of request for the town board. The dates we would prefer is Monday, August 15th, 2022, but if that date is not available, we would consider a different date in August. Please let me know if there is something more I need to do at this time. Of course, I know there will be additional forms to complete, and the security deposit and approval is granted. This is for Janine Roper, President, Alpha Chapter Delta Kappa Gamma Society International. They did this last year, right?
The only thing they have to know, we're going to be playing bocce that night, so we're going to be right next to where they are. I don't know, I wasn't there that Monday probably. Just so they know.
So is the board okay with Alpha Chapter Delta Kappa Gamma Society International reusing the Cluett Chance Park and on August 15th, 2022, the Alpha Chapter Delta Kappa Gamma would like to use the pavilion in the park. I got a motion?
I make that motion.
Anybody?
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Then I got another one, though.
That's it. This is something I gotta sign later. That's all I got for correspondence. That's good. Any public comments? Public comments? Mark, come on up.
I just want to follow up on the two things. One, on the Baxter Group you talked about.
Yep.
You said there was an assessment that you guys discussed, and can you tell me what that amount discussed was?
If I can't, I give, like, off the top of my head, I think it was, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's about 11
The
point,
assessment.
it's about 11.88 million, something like there. Like, right about 12 million.
The assessment of it?
Yep.
And then do you know what that translates to? You talked about the actual
About
dollars?
525,000 when fully built out.
When
And
fully-
that's,
in
that's
taxes.
school, town, and county taxes.
Okay.
Not, doesn't include utilities like water and sewer, doesn't include, fire districts of
Right.
anything. This is school, county, and town. Fully built out, their estimate's just under 12 million at this point. Again, these are preliminary assessments, and if that was built out fully, that would correlate about 525,000 in tax revenue.
Because you said it wasn't lowered, so I was trying to, and then you said there was an arrangement.
Well, they were looking for like 10, 11 million. We're like, well, we're not here to make a deal, right? It's not make a deal. This is the assessment. So I had Cindy, our assessor, work on it for over a week and get them an accurate assessment, because there's been a lot of numbers floating out there. This is the assessment, that's the assessment.
Right.
But there really was no full assessment done on it. So she took their plans that they have based on current rents, because the last time she did it was 2017, maybe, somewhere in that range, when the rents were a lot less. So your assessment also is not just based on the property value and the building value. It's also, in this particular, it's also kind of based on your, what you rent the facilities for.
Okay.
So since their rents are way higher now, and their assessment is their assessment, and then we kind of gave them the number where they're going to be at, it fell in between their high and their low number, where they wanted to be. So they were more comfortable with moving forward without the commercial piece and not having a pilot.
Did
So
they explain why they pulled out from the IDA?
the only yeah, because basically they came in between their taxable payout of what they wanted to be at and where they're at. So taking the commercial property off the table for them, save them X amount of dollars and build out that they're not going to be worrying about. A lot of the engineering and attorney fees come off the table now, right?
Mhm.
So they're residential builders. They're really not commercial builders, Baxter Group. The commercial property came into play mainly because of the IDA. Because, of course, an IDA is typically something that deals with commercial property, right? You're going to create business, you're going to create jobs. Residential, not so much. Even though residential properties have gotten IDAs before, I believe they did one in Kingston last year, I believe, or the year before. So it's not out of the ordinary, but from a time perspective, they want to close on the property by middle of the month of May.
May, okay.
So obviously, going to an IDA board and going through the process and trying to do that was just not going to work into their favor to do that. And that all works into because of the permits and the extensions, the things that they're in front of the planning board for right now. So if they go any further past that, they would be out of that time frame for their extensions. So that's why we sat down, we had another meeting, and we discussed all the numbers, we discussed the time frames, and our displeasure, myself and the superintendent of schools, that we were not in favor of the pilot program, and we gave our reasons. That I had Cindy do a full assessment, this is what your number's at, and we, based on the rentals that you could come up with, and the numbers you were telling us, we believe we're somewhere in the middle, and would you be able to move forward on that? And they came back and said, yes, they could.
Does the commercial component remain as a possibility for the future?
Oh, yeah, it's still a commercial property. Asher Sussman still has ownership of it, so he has not sold that property to them yet.
Okay.
It's still a possibility that they could purchase it, but at this point, they are not purchasing the property as
Okay.
of today, as far as I know.
I just had a water question. You talked about there's an amount, a shortfall, and that, are you raising it $2 per thousand to meet the shortfall?
Yes.
And how much is that?
It's not the shortfall, it's the deficit.
or
We have about a
deficit?
$260,000 deficit in our water district. So in order to make that $260,000 deficit up, you have two options. Either you got to charge more or you got to take a loan out. Most banks are not going to, you think it's a lot, but they're not going to give a town typically a $260,000 loan unless we're paying like a very, very high interest rate.
Right.
So after our meetings, we said we really wanted to get this back to level within 1 year, and we calculated what the average usage is over a year and what that number would need to be in order to get to that deficit zero. So the $2 per 1,000 gallon should be a year. Like, we didn't put a time frame. We said this is a temporary number because depending on what the water usage actually is, if people use more water, it
Right.
could be less than a year. If people use less water, it could be more than a year, right? So, but we're trying to get it all done within 1 year, and then that $2 per 1,000 gallons comes off your bill. And the new bills are coming out. They're all going to be itemized. So you're actually going to see what your water usage is with the cost of operating cost. That's one line.
Right.
The next line is going to say deficit, and it's going to tell you what that cost is. The next line is going to tell you our town of Newburgh debt that we owe them from the bond. And then the last one is going to be it's a 49 cents per 1,000 gallon, and that's for future upgrades to the facilities when we need to.
And presently, what is it? It's $2, they're going up, but what is it presently?
What is it, 930 something, 966, somewhere around there?
I think it's $9.37 per thousand.
Yeah, and it's going to go up $2, technically $2.49 because we're adding that 49 cents.
Okay, on top of that 966.
So the 49 cents will stay indefinitely,
Okay,
and the $2 one is a temporary.
all right.
So we're trying to be as transparent as we can because we know that people are going to have higher water bills. But we also, we took the water billing from 3 periods to 4. So that will hopefully lighten the load a little as far as when you get your water bill. It'll be a little less over 4 bills than 3. So we did pass that too, so.
Last question, was the asbestos came in on budget?
Yeah.
Was it 89.5?
89.9.
89.9, okay.
Yeah, there ain't no less than that because they could have been out in 1 week and they're still going to charge you 89.9 by contract. So yeah. Now they were really good. They were really professional how they did things. Anything that Quest asked them to do, they did right on the spot. I think if you guys saw at one point, they moved the air vent system. It was on the northern side of the building and they moved it to the southern side of the building just because they knew we were doing foundational work.
Right.
And they, even though there was really no issue. They said, just, can you put it on the southern side? They took a half a day and they moved it over. So they were really, really good, this company. We had no issues with them whatsoever, so.
Thanks very much.
Yep, thanks. Anybody else? Mickey?
Mickey Simonovsky, I just really want to thank you and Dave for the Community Connections presentation. I thought that was outstanding, even better than the one that you did here. So you might want to just keep that on a loop on the town website. And I did have one question also relating to the water deficit and the Bayside project. And I'm a little confused because the Bayside project, they cleared everything, but they didn't own the land? Or did Mr. Sussman clear
You
everything?
mean the commercial?
Yeah.
Well, they cleared the commercial property because part of the overall build-out of even the residential, there's drainage pipes and
Right.
utilities that got to go through that site. So they worked out a deal with Mr. Sussman that they were going to clear that.
Oh, I hope that deal goes through. Otherwise, everybody's...
Everybody's assuming. Oh, look, you know why they had to take the tree. They had to take the
Yeah.
trees down because by April 1st, they had to have them down because of the bat migration, so they
Yeah.
dropped the trees. They will be clearing up the property once they close on the deal, So, again, that's all assuming that they get their extensions from the planning board. According to the planning board engineer and attorney, they're within their rights to ask for this extension by our codes, so I would assume it's going to go through, but again, they're going through the proper channels, doing their due diligence. But yeah, the reason they cleared that commercial property is mainly, partially it's because of the drainage and all the underground stuff that has to go there, but it's also going to be a staging area for the build-out, which is up on top of the hill.
Makes sense.
So it's a twofold reason why they did it. It's an expense to them, but
Right. So with their quite a bit of additional water usage, do they also have a separate fee to the water district? Or are they going to be assigned the same water fee that us regular users are?
they pay for what they're going to use, yep.
So there's no
No
upfront?
upfront fee? No, we don't have no upfront fee for the water. They have to pay for the sewer district now. The sewer district is going to be quite extensive. I mean, they've probably got, off the top of my head, don't quote me on the exact number, but it's somewhere in the 350,000 number is that they have to pay into the sewer district. Asher Sussman already paid the 1/3 payment. He just actually paid it 2 weeks ago, finally. $103,000 and change. So they will be responsible for the other 2/3 of that payment. So that was part of their planning board process. They're just paying 1/3 up front. Then as so much of the project's complete, they got to pay the other 1/3. And then on completion, they pay the final 1/3.
Okay.
So, yeah, that all goes to the Marlborough Sewer District.
All right.
So,
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Mickey, before you go, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is there a recording of the presentation that Scott and Dave did for the Community Connections?
I don't think we did.
Okay.
Everybody's asking that, and I don't think we did.
You guys are going to
But
have
if
to
we
do it
did,
then.
I will provide it to you for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I just thought that would be good to put up on the town webpage, and I know we got requests on the Recreation Committee Facebook page.
I could do another one.
You might have to record another one.
I got a whole slideshow, so it's not like
We
it's
could
that
do
hard.
it.
It's just talking again.
It was really, really good. I wish more people had been attending.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to advertise this other than the ways that are available to us. But we'll just
Yeah.
keep trying.
Keep trying.
Keep trying. Thank
I mean,
you.
I could, yeah, we could do something. I mean, I have the slideshow. It's just a matter of recording it and talking to it again.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Then we're going to get right into our resolutions. Resolution 42. So I sent you guys this information. I asked you to reach out to Howard. Again, this is a second phase of a two-phase process in this historic survey that we've been doing. And how it's been worked in the past, it's a $20,000 grant and it's a $20,000 project of phase two, and it's 10,000 of it is from grant, 5,000 of it has been funded by community donations, and 5,000 from the town board. Again, this is through the Town of Marlborough grant, but the Cultural Resource Committee has been overseeing this, Howard being one, so that's why I asked you to reach out to him, and I know, Councilwoman Sesha, you reached out to Howard. I don't know if you want to explain what he said.
I did reach out to him, and I have to admit I have some mixed feelings on this resolution, and I think it's a very interesting project, and it's very interesting to see the report of the historic structures in the town. But I question a little bit what we're using that information for. What was the original intention of this project? I don't love leaving a project half done, so again, I'm a little torn on this one, but I'd like to ask the board members that were on the previous board if there's any additional background information from your perspective on what this information will ultimately be used for, or what the strategy was behind taking on this project at the get-go.
So how it was explained to us back in the, I think this was in 2020 when the first one we did, and then COVID hit, and that's why it took so long. But basically, we're inventorying all our historic sites and buildings within our hamlets. How it was told to us, again, this is how it was told to us, is that it actually helps you for other grants that you can get through the state. This type of study is one of the studies that they would look at when you go for certain types of other grants. Now, what those grants may be, I can't tell you off the top of my head. I'm just telling you what Howard had
Howard
explained to
presented
us
us,
in the last one. We thought that it being only at the time $5,000 towards our end, and that the community was donating $5,000. We thought that was quite a bit of interest for the community to be donating $5,000, and that we got $10,000 in the grant money. And then we knew that there was a phase 2 to it. So the overall cost of this inventory, really, as you think about it, it's $40,000, right? So 20 of that will be coming from grants, 10 of that will be coming from donations, again, which is pretty sizable donations from the community, and then 10,000 overall from the board. So I definitely get your reservations. $10,000 overall is a lot of money. But I mean, inventorying our community and getting it in a document isn't a bad thing, because a lot of times these things disappear and then you never see them again. So have them in a document and they're there forever. It depends on what you want to do. But that's the only thing, unless Eddie wants to add anything to that.
No, I understood the same thing. Everything was presented to us, and we looked at it and thought, for what we're getting bang for our buck for $10,000, it's not a lot, is a lot of money, but we're getting a lot more money from the other people, which we don't usually get. Usually it's a matching one where we pay $40,000, we end up paying $20,000. When we got the donations and still the interest from the town, that was the biggest thing that made me go that way.
Yeah. Dave, you got anything?
Okay, thank you.
Any questions, Dave?
No, I'm good. I understand it.
I know you're not feeling good, so I don't want to.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll vote on it, and however, like I said, however you guys want to vote, that's how we're going to vote. Resolution 42, to dedicate $5,000 toward the Phase 2 of the Cultural Resource Survey to inventory historic buildings and places in the town of Marlborough. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following: whereas the town of Marlborough was pursuing a cultural resource inventory grant to conduct a survey and build an inventory of historic buildings and places in the town of Marlborough, and whereas Phase 1 has been completed, and whereas the town of Marlborough is now pursuing a cultural resource inventory grant to conduct Phase 2 of the survey, and whereas it anticipated the cost of the Phase 2 to be $20,000, and whereas the cultural resource inventory grant will cover $10,000, and whereas $5,000 will come from the community donations, and whereas the town board would dedicate $5,000 to cover the remaining cost of Phase 2 survey. Be it resolved that the town of Marlborough dedicate $5,000 toward the Phase 2 cultural resource survey to inventory historic buildings and places in the town of Marlborough, and moves for its adoption. I just want to clarify that the $5,000 was not budgeted for. So if we do pass this, we will have another resolution next meeting to transfer $5,000 from our fund balance for this fund. So just wanted to clarify that that's where that money would come from our fund balance. So, and moves for its adoption.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Resolution 43 to transfer funds, and this is part of what we're going to do next meeting, but we're doing this one for here. So these are, anytime we have to transfer funds, we have to do this. So Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following: whereas the town board needs to approve the transfer of funds, and whereas we need to transfer $17,388 from the general fund balance A.0917, which was deposited in 2020 from Bayside Construction LLC for the commercial sewer reserves. Here you go, Mickey, these are the numbers. And $103,831 from the general fund balance A.0917, which was deposited in 2022 from the Bayside Construction LLC for residential sewer reserves. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Marlborough hereby approves the following transfer of funds: to transfer $121,219 from the general fund balance A.0917 to Marlborough Sewer Improvement Fund H32.0915, and moves for its adoption. Now, this fund, just so you guys know, is the Sewer Improvement Fund, And this is the fund that we'll be using to improve the Marlborough sewer, and this is where the ARPA money that we received the first payment on also is. And when we get our bid package back from Dennis Larios, this is where the money will be coming out of this H3 2.0915 improvement fund. So, and again, Mickey, that $103,831 is the 1/3 payment. So if you multiply that by 3, that's what they're paying for the residential. And Asher paid the $17,388. That's all he needed to pay for the sewer for the commercial. And that was one lump sum, so not as much. And moves for its adoption.
Yes.
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 Yes, thank you. Resolution 44 to approve the use of funds for the town of Marlborough wastewater treatment facility sewer improvement project. And here we go, these are the monies. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following, whereas the town of Marlborough received funds from the U.S. federal government ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, and whereas the town of Marlborough received the first deposit in an amount of $439,384.26 in July of 2021 from the U.S. federal ARP funding program, and whereas the town of Marlborough wastewater treatment facility located at Dock Road in the hamlet of Marlborough is in need of updates and improvements, and whereas the town of Marlborough wishes to use these funds from the U.S. federal ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 for the Marlborough wastewater treatment facility sewer improvement project. And again, these monies are in this account up here, and this is needed for the ARPA April deadline that we have to start submitting our projects to the federal government, and it needs a resolution in order to show them what we're doing. So it moves for its adoption.
Yes.
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 Yes, thank you. Resolution 45 to authorize the filing of a negative declaration, and this is for our 155 code changes that we closed the public hearing earlier. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following: Town of Marlborough Town Board secret negative declaration and notice of determination of non-significance for local law of the Town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending various provisions of Chapter 155 zoning of the Marlborough Town Code as follows: amending Section 155-1 terms defined to remove definition for border housing, Section 155-27, off-street parking, off-street loading, filing, and service stations pertaining to off-street parking spaces, square feet, and Section 155-30, multiple dwellings pertaining to minimum distance between structures. Whereas the Town of Marlborough Town Board proposes to adopt local law number 2 of 2022, a local law of the Town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending various provisions of Chapter 155 of the Town Code in the manner described above. And whereas it is determined that a non-significance, i.e. negative declaration prepared in accordance with Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and its implementing regulations set forth in 6 NYCRR Part 617 regulation. And whereas the town board has directly undertaken action and is only involved in agency, and therefore the lead agency for the environmental review of the action pursuant of SECRA and its implementing regulations. And whereas the name and address of the lead agency is the Town of Marlborough, Town Board, 21 Milton Turnpike, Milton, New York, 12547, and the responsible officer is Scott Corcoran, the Town of Marlborough Town Supervisor, with the telephone number of 845-795-5100. And whereas the Town of Marlborough Town Board, as the lead agency, has classified this action as unlisted action pursuant of 6 NYCRR Code 617-6.6 of the regulations. And whereas the Town of Marlborough Town Board has caused the preparation of a full environmental assessment form, FEAF, for review of actions. And I'm not going to read all the rest. This is a lot of stuff that goes into the SECRA. If you need it, it's on our website. You guys have gotten this information. And I'm just going to finish here. Actions has been determined that it will not have any significant adverse impact on the environment, and that therefore a draft environmental impact statement need not be prepared. And be it further resolved that the Town of Marlborough Town Board hereby issues a negative declaration and notice thereof pursuant of the requirements of seeker and its implement regulations. And be it further resolved that the Town Board hereby authorize the filing of this negative declaration and notice therefore pursuant of the requirements of seeker and 6 NYCRR 617.12 of the implementing regulations. Foregone resolution was voted upon with all council members voting as follows. Yes.
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 All right, we're getting there. See, passing laws takes a lot. Okay, Resolution 46 to adopt local law number 2 of the year 2022, amending various provisions of Chapter 155 zoning of the Marlborough Town Code. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following, whereas the local law is introduced to be known as the local law number 2 of 2022, entitled Local Law number 2 of 2022, a local law of the Town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending various provisions of Chapter 155 zoning of the Marlborough Town Code as follows. And it's all the same things I just read before. Whereas a public hearing in relation to said local law was opened on March 14th, 2022 and closed on April 11th, 2022. And whereas notice of said public hearing was given pursuant to terms and provisions of the municipal home rule law of the state of New York. And whereas said law has been on the desk of the members of the town board of the town of Marlborough for at least 7 days, exclusive of Sunday. And whereas pursuant to Section 239 of the General Municipal Law, the project was referred to the Ulster County Planning Board, which responded on April 7th, 2022, that the local law will have no county impact. And whereas the proposed local law was referred to the Town of Marlborough Planning Board for its comment thereon, which replied in favor of the amendment via letter on or before March 14th, 2022. Now therefore be resolved that the following local law is hereby enacted. And these are all the sections of the codes that we talked about. Okay. And the foregoing resolution was voted upon with all council members voting as follows. Yes.
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 Okay. And just a quick thing, I was just going to tell people if they didn't, I get these reports all the time, and I know I want to get out of here too, but just so you have an idea, this is from Central Hudson, which I got today. It gives you some kind of an overview of what the cost of electric supply has been, how it's been fluctuating. And you could see that here, as of April 22nd, we're up a little again. Natural gas is way up. What really gets you is the historical data is right here. So electrical supply in April of 2021 was half of what it is now. This is about 7, and we're out almost at 14. So that's cents per kilowatt hour. So when you know why your electric bills are so high, this is the actual cost. And then you'll see the same thing with gas supply. It was around 40, and now it's about 95. So per CCF. So when you get those letters, they say they went up 40%. This is a graph that actually shows it actually has from year to year. So just some tidbit of information. Where are we here, Eddie? Eddie, it's your time of the night.
I just had one question. I apologize for being late. Is it possible we could go into executive session just to go over one thing I had been working with? Take me 2 minutes.
You just have to name what it's for.
It would be personnel related.
For personnel of what? We gotta say for the record. I mean, without disposing the person. What department?
It was a review with the ethics
A
committee.
review with the ethics board? Okay. You make a motion?
I make a motion, we go executive session very quick for a review of personnel issue with the ethics board.
Go ahead. I'll second it. Okay, we'll be right back.
Really?
Eddie, is there going to be any, I don't think we have any decision tonight, no decisions on anything, right? Just updating us?
Yep.
All right, so it's
It's only gonna be a couple of minutes.
Scott, can you email me that Marvin letter as well as the county executive? The Marvin letter that was sent to the county executive. Can you email me those two?
Mark, just email me so I don't
sense not to give us that lane there. But I'm always under the impression that Ulster County and DOT doesn't like Marlborough for business. They want us to be a drive-through community. It's a single lane, and the more road cuts we create for business has an opportunity to slow traffic down and to basically cause accidents in their opinion. They want the two bridges to be the two lanes, right? Go over the bridges over here, Highland River, and Marlborough Middle just drive through. Don't slow down, just when you get to the other.
Okay, we're back from executive session where no decisions were made. And now, Eddie?
All right, well, it's Scott's birthday, so we're going to go home. So I make a motion that we adjourn.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.